The following live stream has been pre-recorded. Any special weather reports or tornado warnings that are present during this program should be checked within 30 minutes from your local television stations. Thank you.
Powered by Riverside FM.
Live from Riverside, this is AJ&E News. Now reporting, AJ Baker and Ethan Jakowski.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to AJ&E News. Today is February 6th, 2026. I'm AJ Baker. Ethan Jakowski has the night off. We have a lot of stories to cover this evening. Mainly to start with that Savannah Guthrie case is continuing into day 6. Tonight, we get more information on the ransom notes that were sent to various TV stations around Arizona. There is also a new updated timeline. So we've got a lot more information about the case, and just a few moments ago, we had heard that authorities have swarmed her home again to try and find any new evidence. For tonight's piece about this, we have one piece about this. We have Inside Edition that kind of covers an in-depth look and an in-depth interview into the ransom note, as well as the new plea put out by Savannah's brother.
Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you.
Savannah Guthrie's brother makes a fresh appeal to their mom's kidnappers.
We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
61-year-old Cameron Guthrie, a retired F-16 fighter pilot, posted the video on Instagram just as the 5 p.m. deadline passed that had been set by the kidnappers.
The 5 o'clock deadline that the hostage takers posed, I think they wanted to reach back out and say, listen, we haven't heard from you. We need proof of life. Reach out to us.
Internet sleuths are pointing to the extraordinary similarity between Savannah's heart-wrenching appeal and this scene from The Silence of the Lambs, in which a mom makes a TV appeal for her kidnapped daughter.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
We're learning more about the contents of the ransom demand sent to 3 news organizations, the TV stations KOLD, KGUN, and the website TMZ. The email opens with, "Nancy is okay, but scared. She is aware of the letter and the demands." And the ransom note warns, "You will have no way of contacting me. This is the only contact." It's still not known if the notes are genuine. Local TV news anchor Mary Coleman appeared on CBS Mornings with the note she received in her hand.
What was alarming was how coherent this message was. When someone's life is on the line and there's a deadline associated, that's of course very alarming to anyone.
I retraced Nancy Guthrie's journey home that fateful night from her daughter Annie's house.
By the map, it's just about 11 minutes, 4.5 miles. It's so dark in this area that you really can't see very far ahead. You can only see as far as the throw of your headlights. Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood, like many here in Tucson, has no street lights, and that's by design. That's because it's near 3 local observatories, and folks here love to stargaze. So how dark is it? Watch what happens when we turn out the light on the camera. It's pitch black. You can't see a thing. We're also learning new details of the kidnapping timeline. There's speculation the kidnappers may have been inside the house for up to 43 minutes.
We have about a 43-minute time frame where those abductors could have been in the house, and this doesn't usually jibe with how kidnappers work. They're usually in and out very quickly. I think they didn't anticipate Nancy's health issues to be as they are.
Hoda Kotb returned to the Today Show anchor desk today with a tribute to Savannah's acts of kindness.
Who was first in the hospital room when Hope was sick? Savannah.
Right.
How about when your brother passed?
Right.
I mean, she was there. We're all so close with her, and we all want to help her.
Inside Edition, Jim Murray, thank you. Sorry about that. We just had a little bit of technical problems getting the video off of the screen. So that was, of course, a major update in the Guthrie case. And we are very glad to hear that someone does have Nancy and has confirmed. But the question is really to everybody. When will his next deadline be? When will he stop? When will he pull the trigger? Or that's what's circulating throughout everyone's minds in this case. And again, the Pima County Sheriff's Office has gotten a tip that has resulted in more further investigations. We will have more on that as stuff is released tomorrow night, February 7th. All right, we go next now to the trial of Luigi Mangione, the the confirmed assassin of the United Healthcare CEO. His trial date has been set for June 8th. We have ABC News covering this story.
Now we have breaking news. The state trial for the United Healthcare CEO murder suspect is now set for June 8th. But the judge says he could push the date to September if the Department of Justice decides to appeal a ruling in his federal case. Last week, a different judge scheduled the federal trial for the fall. Now the judge in the state case says he believes the state case should go to trial first. ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer has the latest on that. Brian, the judge seems frustrated with the attempt to schedule the federal trial first. Why does the order of the trials matter so much?
So Dan, it seemed like the judge was frustrated. I think he even said during this appearance that it appears the federal judge has reneged on their agreement to allow the state to go first. In terms of the issue as to who goes first and when, oftentimes we see the state will collapse their case and allow the federal government to go first. But now both sides are kind of negotiating as to who goes first. And there seems to be a disagreement at the final leg of it. There is no real difference as to who goes first, whether the state prosecutes with a trial first or the federal government. I would imagine that now that both punishments are at the same level of life in prison and no death penalty, it's really one or the other. But it's clear the defense wants the federal case to go first.
The defense lawyers say this June 8th trial date is not feasible. What do you make of their arguments there?
Yeah, so they're not really making an argument in court. So I can't tell you they're saying like based on X, Y, and Z, this is why it can't go forward. But we do know in today's court appearance, there are a lot of what's called sidebars where both the prosecution and defense go up to the judge's bench or even into chambers and have conversations that we don't hear about in the public. And I would imagine that the difficulty of having both a federal and a state case, and even though the facts are the same in both, there are different applications of the law, different arguments of the law, different legal standards in federal and state court, and there needs to be a focus on one trial at a time rather than trying to kind of literally burn the candle on both ends of figuring out how to do this. And I think that's the frustration of saying we can't be ready for June 8th for the state and then sometime in September for the feds back to back like this would be very difficult.
Brian, what are you watching for as the hearing plays out?
Right now, Diane, we are looking at two trains, one being the state of New York and the other being the federal government careening towards a trial. And the question is, which one's going to stop first? Which one's going to decide to kind of bow out? And if we get to a point where we're going to have back-to-back trials, I think we're going to see a lot of appellate issues in the sense of this is difficult for any attorney. I understand even the frustration of the attorneys, and even we heard of Mangione as he walked out kind of shouting that this is double jeopardy, trying him for the same case twice is against his constitutional rights. Now, it is not double jeopardy. You can't be tried for the same crimes. These are state and federal crimes, but it is the same fact pattern, and it is causing a lot of chaos that you don't typically see in the average case when a person is charged both at the state and federal level.
All right, ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer, thank you.
All right, that was ABC News reporting on that story. Again, major update. We haven't heard about that case for a few months until just now. So we thank ABC News for contributing that piece to us. And for our YouTube Shorts viewers, to see the full piece by ABC News and to view other pieces on the broadcast, other news on the broadcast, be sure to click on the full video. All right. Next up on this newscast, a New York Police Department, an NYPD sergeant, has been officially charged for manslaughter by assaulting Eric Dupree with a cooler. I wish I was lying with that. News 12 has more information on this sort of interesting story.
A guilty verdict is reached in the trial of the NYPD sergeant accused of killing a Bronx man with a cooler. News 12's Lindsay Tanney is outside a Bronx criminal court with more on that verdict. Lindsay.
That's right. So Judge Guy Mitchell found Sergeant Eric Duran guilty of manslaughter in the second degree. I was inside the packed courtroom when the judge read the verdict. Now, that verdict was entirely up to the judge. There was no jury in that case. And Sergeant Duran walked into the courtroom appearing calm but stiff. When the verdict was read, his face turned white and his head went down. But he remained silent as cops behind him started to get emotional. Afterwards, our cameras captured him leaving the courtroom while someone had his arm around his shoulder, comforting him. Then members from the Dupree family and other supporters came out with their hands in the air cheering. Now, Sergeant Duran is accused of killing Eric Dupree in a botched drug bust in Kingsbridge Heights in August of 2023. You can see Duran in plain clothes throwing a cooler at Dupree as he tried to get away on a motorbike, the impact killing him. This high-profile trial lasted about 3 weeks. Dupree's family called this an unfair death, while Sergeant Duran's lawyers say he threw the cooler to try to save lives and that the motorbike Dupree was riding would have hit other officers. Prosecutors said the bike was not a deadly threat and throwing the cooler was excessive. Today, outside the courtroom, Dupree's family and Black Lives Matter activists were celebrating. Take a listen.
I feel like I won an Oscar. Justice has eluded us for so long that when it's finally delivered, it doesn't seem like justice. It seems like a blessing from the Most High God.
Now that the verdict is out, Sergeant Duran has until Tuesday to post $300,000 in bail. Also, his sentencing is set for March 19th. He faces up to 15 years in prison.
Okay, that was News 12 with that story. Thank you for contributing that. Of course, kind of an interesting story. An assault leading eventually to a hospitalization, leading to a death. Anyway, News 12, we thank you so much for that story. For YouTube Shorts viewers to watch that piece from News 12 and to view other stories from tonight's broadcast, please click on the full video linked in the short. All right, we're on to 3 stories left now. A pretty tragic one next. A 11-year-old girl has been unfortunately killed in Brooklyn after a bus driving accident. After a driver failed to yield after a driver failed to yield while she crossed the street. Excuse me. We have 2 pieces, both coming from CBS News New York. The bus driver, in this case, is being investigated. We will hear that first from CBS News New York, and then after that, we will hear how their local neighborhood in Brooklyn is mourning the loss of this 11-year-old. Let's start with that initial piece that the bus driver is being investigated. Anyway, the bus driver is being investigated. Here's CBS News New York with more information.
A deadly school bus hit and run in Brooklyn. An update from the scene from the driver. Good evening, I'm Dick Brennan. We begin with breaking news tonight. Investigators say a school bus struck and killed an 11-year-old girl and that the driver did not stop. Andrew Ramos is in Brooklyn tonight with the details.
Yeah, and neighbors here still grappling with this tragedy that unfolded just as school was getting dismissed. Now, police say this hit and run happened just after 3 o'clock this afternoon at the intersection of 23rd and Bath Avenues. This is in the Bath Beach section of Brooklyn. Witnesses tell police that the 11-year-old girl was crossing 23rd Ave when she was struck by the school bus. The driver, we're told, did not stop and left the scene. While it's unclear if the driver was aware that they struck a person, those who saw surveillance footage of the accident, including State Senator Stephen Chan, believe otherwise.
What I did see is a school bus hit a young lady, and now she's dead, and the school bus kept going. And now, I've handled many of these cases myself. There's times when a truck or a bus really don't know that it hit somebody. But in this case, in my opinion, the school bus know that he hit somebody.
The young girl was taken to Maimonides Hospital in critical condition and died a short time later. Neighbors we spoke to say the snow may have played a factor, being that it has been difficult to navigate sidewalks and crosswalks in the past week.
I honestly thought that maybe another car swerved the bus and the bus had to swerve, but now the story is coming up that the bus hit her and left. So it's scary because that's a school bus.
Now, the bus was stopped by NYPD late this afternoon, and the driver was taken into questioning. As of right now, charges are still pending, and the 11-year-old victim in this case still not identified. That's the latest here in Bath Beach, Brooklyn. I'm Andrew Ramos, CBS News, New York.
3, 2, 1. That was the initial reporting on how the bus driver is being investigated. Thank you. That was CBS News New York. We now go again to CBS News New York on how their local neighborhood is mourning this loss.
You know, and all we could do is just try to prevent this from happening again.
In Brooklyn, I'm Masa Saidi, CBS News New York.
Tonight, a growing memorial marks the spot where an 11-year-old girl was struck and killed by a school bus. And questions are also growing about this tragedy. Masa Saidi is in Bath Beach with new details about what happened.
Tonight, we've learned the 11-year-old girl killed by a school bus was just steps away from home when it happened. Neighbors, heartbroken, brought a teddy bear, candles, and her favorite candy, white chocolate, to the intersection of 23rd and Bath Avenues in Brooklyn. Police identified the child as Amira Eminova. One neighbor who works at an assisted living facility nearby says she often saw Amira in the neighborhood.
Did you get a sense for what type of child she was? A beautiful little girl, always smiling, happy. You know, we never saw her being rude. Even with my residents, you know, they are challenging and sometimes they cut off on the line, and she was always patient and kind to them.
Surveillance footage shows Amira in the crosswalk where police say she had the right of way. A school bus turns. We're freezing the video just before impact. Police say the driver did not stop and was later pulled over and questioned. The 62-year-old man is charged with failure to yield and failure to exercise due care. Police say he was not aware of the crash and was not charged with leaving the scene. We asked the Department of Education about the driver involved, whether he was hired or overseen by the DOE, and what steps are being taken to investigate. They declined to answer those questions. In a statement, the DOE saying in part, quote, "Our hearts go out to the family. New York City Public Schools takes the safety of all students extremely seriously and expects every bus driver to follow proper safety and reporting protocols."
They're all in our prayers, and we all feel this tragedy along with her, you know. And all we could do is just try to prevent this from happening again.
In Brooklyn, I'm Masa Saidi, CBS News New York.
And thank you. That was once again CBS News New York on the second half of that story. Again, that girl has now been identified, and investigations are still ongoing. For those two pieces from CBS News New York, to view those two pieces from CBS News New York about this story, and also view other stories in tonight's newscast, please, for Shorts viewers, please click on the linked video in the short. All right, now we go on to Kind of an interesting story. Kind of like nuts. This stuff has happened. Anyway, before I get too far here, according to sources, 11 children in a daycare in Boston have been taken to local area hospitals because of apparent soap contamination to a irritant chemical. They are still investigating this. In fact, they do believe that these soap dispensers, they are investigating the soap dispensers, which they do believe possibly played a part in this story. For more information on this story, here's CBS News, Boston.
Hazmat could have that answer by today.
Breaking news this evening, 11 children were taken to the hospital after they were exposed to a chemical cleaner at a Wellesley daycare. WBZ's Mike Sullivan is live in Wellesley this evening with what we have learned tonight. And Mike, these kids are okay.
Yes, they are going to be fine with just what they say equates to somewhat like a sunburn. And they were here at the daycare, and earlier this afternoon, this parking lot was lined with ambulances, each one taking those children to the hospital. We are told those kids range from age 1 to 5 years old. A daycare evacuated in Wellesley. These parents scurrying to come get their children at Bright Horizons. A dozen of their classmates are facing rashes akin to a sunburn.
We haven't exactly pinpointed what the irritant is, but we think it may have something to do with the soap dispenser, possibly.
Hazmat crews are analyzing the dispenser liquid to see what may have caused the irritation. Wellesley police believe it may be some type of dishwasher detergent that got mixed in.
11 of the children have been transported to area hospitals, and all minor, superficial rash is essentially that of something of a bad sunburn.
Wellesley police say the reactions range in intensity from child to child, leading them to believe there could be varying concentrations of the irritant in the dispensers. Fire crews originally came here to treat just one child.
So on response, we were evaluating when several other children came up with a very similar issue.
The whole building is currently shut down for investigation, but typically there are roughly 40 kids at the daycare. Parents were seen getting into ambulances as their children were taken to the hospital out of an abundance of caution.
Anytime there's children involved, we're always going to have a response like this.
We reached out to Bright Horizons for comment. So far, we have not got a response. So we are still waiting for answers on what that irritant is, but the fire chief here in Wellesley believes that Hazmat could have that answer by today. Live in Wellesley, I'm Mike Sullivan, WBZ News.
All right, Mike.
All right, and that was WBZ News, CBS News Boston on that information. Thank you so much. If any updates come to that, we will update you. We will update you tomorrow night on AJ&E Evening News. For our Shorts viewers, to view that full piece by WBZ Boston, CBS News Boston, and also view other stories from tonight's newscast, please click on the video attached to the short. Okay, now our final story of the night. A Amber Alert in Indiana has been issued for a young boy, a 2-year-old child, that apparently was abducted from his home. For more information on this and for more information about the description of the child, here is NBC 13 News.
Coming in at 6:48, we want to remind you of some breaking news we're following for you this morning from northwestern Indiana.
Where there is an Amber Alert out of Stark County from North Judson, Indiana, about 120 miles northwest of Indianapolis. This is the little boy at the center of this Amber Alert. 2-year-old Saxon Clemens. He's described as 2 feet 4 inches tall, about 30 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. He was last seen wearing a blue and gray sweatshirt and sweatpants yesterday afternoon around 3 o'clock p.m. So again, in North Judson, Indiana, and this little boy is believed to be in extreme danger this morning.
The suspect is Dwayne Clemens, according to police. This is a picture of him, 44 years old. He's described to be about 5'9", 180 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. He was last seen driving a silver 2017 Chevrolet Trailblazer with Indiana license plate CRS 242. If you have any information, you're urged to contact the Stark County Sheriff's Department. We'll post that number for you online.
We'll show you that information now again so you can see that license plate a little better. Again, 2-year-old Saxon Clemens is who police are looking for this morning. He was believed to be abducted, with the suspect there driving in a silver Chevy Trailblazer. That's the license plate police want you to be on the lookout for. Again, CRS 242. They want you to call 911 immediately, or you can reach out to the Starks County Sheriff's Department if you have any helpful information to share this morning. All this information is posted online if you want to get a second look.
Okay, and that was NBC 13 News covering on that Amber Alert of this young child in southern Indiana. Thank you so much for that piece of information. I apologize, folks. I was just cutting out so that our YouTube Shorts algorithm couldn't notice. But that is our final news piece of the broadcast. It is now reaching 27 minutes. I will stop this at 27 minutes. Anyway, we hope to see you tonight on AJ&E Evening News. Hopefully with more information on some of the stories that we covered tonight. Or if not, we will probably have some new ones. Anyway, I am AJ Baker, speaking for Ethan Jakowski, which is off tonight. He will hopefully be back on the next broadcast tomorrow night. Anyway, I'm AJ Baker. Thank you so much for supporting this newscast, and thank you so much for watching. Good night.